her comment. I mean, we will together, but
Oh,
what's up, y'all?
what's happening with it? We is absolutely back. Oh, I know the fuck you ain't. I know. Here, you want to pause this and then come back in?
No, I need some more light. I just wasn't ready yet. Well, okay, look. So we're back, you guys. This is another podcast. Is this better? This is
Yeah,
so I'm Nirvana, and this is Dynamicus. He's my cousin and co-host of this quaint uh situation.
yeah.
So now I have a question. I wanna know what is the big fascination about polygamy? And and this is why it came up. I'm a little cold. Okay, this is why it came up. There's a show on Netflix called The Polygamist, and
Mm-hmm.
everybody was telling me to watch it. Hi guys, hi Truth, hi V Peachy. Um, so
What's good, Peach? What's up, Truth? What's
hi
happening?
everybody. Okay, so check it. So anyway, everybody was saying to watch it, blah blah blah, right? So I watched it. It caused me to have. I'm just gonna go through these comments real quick, and then Jason kind of read all of them a little bit. Okay, so we'll go through them. Hi everybody. Okay, so look, so check it. So listen, I don't know what it is, polygamy. I
Yeah.
literally haven't even looked at the definition yet. But in this, poly means more than one. I know that. But there's
Mm-hmm.
all these terms,
Mm-hmm.
kind of like how
Mm-hmm.
they did gay. Gay,
Who?
how they turned we used to just say gay back in the day. You're gay,
Uh-huh.
right?
Right,
Now,
right, right, right.
all these other terms, I don't know if they've been made up or they already existed, right? I'm just
What's another term for gay?
LGBTQ. You could say I'm LGBTQ. I'm part of, you know, I'm not gay. I'm binary. I'm not. I don't know. It's all.
But hold on, but binary
I'm
or
trans.
non-binary, those are all unique within themselves. They're not the same. They're not the
But
same as gay. Those are
so when you remember
that
when you were
that's that's
little,
like saying I'm black and then someone else saying I'm Nigerian.
okay, but look,
We look the
you
same, we
when
got the
you
same complexion, but we are talking about our difference of culture. Like we
but we
and
would
black is not Nigerian, right?
we would when do but we would just say you're black. We wouldn't distinguish as listen.
Mm-hmm.
Listen, when you were younger, people were gay, nigga. You did not go around saying binary, non-binary, trans, none of that shit. When I would hear my dad talk, or our people, our older people, men, women, they would say gay or faggot.
Okay,
I'm
that
not saying
means
right or wrong.
right, right, right. I hear what you're saying.
Gay. You're gay. You means you like the same sex. All these other letters and acronyms, it's fairly newly introduced. I mean, I can't be the only one that knows this or feels this way. Yeah, but I'm only using this as an example to the major point. The point being that Polly, and when I start looking at these videos and trying to find a video to kind of go over tonight, and I found a little podcast. I was trying to look at it from like the basic premise. Nothing too complicated, because we don't have a lot of time. But I want to be educated and um it's like, listen, when I think Polly, I'm just like, you want to sleep around. And I know it's a myth. I know there's a lot more to it, but
Right,
you
right,
just
right,
want to fuck off. You want to
right.
just fuck like multiple people, and you want the liberty to have sex with multiple people without it being a problem. And because you say we're having the conversation and I'm being transparent and we're all agreeing that it's going to be okay, to me, it's just a complicated thing. And in this show, the nigga they end up killing the wives. Come no, one of the wives kills the husband because of jealousy and whatever else, right? Which I'm sure happens, but I'm sure was extreme. I'm guessing because it's a movie. But the whole point is the wives. It just didn't work. It didn't work with this nigga trying to have multiple wives. It shit just didn't work out.
Uh-huh.
And you think because
Uh-huh.
you can financially take care of them that it's gonna be cool. And do are women poly with men?
Y- Yeah, they can be. There's yeah, so that's yeah, it's possible. There's a lot of different ways to go about non-conventional relationships.
Right.
And we only say non-conventional because the generally speaking, we're coming from a Eurocentric perspective, which is based on fucking Quakers and shit like that, right? It's based on this, what we've known here locally. This is what's been accepted. This is what's supposed to be. This is what the church has said should be X, Y, and Z, yada, yada, yada. So then we base a lot of what we're doing on these types of things versus understanding that there's a world context, right? Just like I've said this before, and I said this last week, we use a system of measurement here that's only here. Nowhere else in the known world do they use this system of measurement. Everyone else across the globe uses a different measurement system, which makes things simple outside of there. But here, they have their own little thing to manipulate what they want to manipulate. I say all that to say the same way that that's insulated, we've become insulated in our views about life and our
Mm-hmm.
views about religion, our views about just about everything, right? Because
Right.
again, we've been trained to put on blinders. So, to
Mm-hmm.
your initial point, there was a time we used one term that encapsulated everything.
Uh-huh.
I think with the age that we're moving into and the age that we're in now is people are finding voice and giving voice. Like, listen, I am not a monolith, right? I'm not all black people are not monolithic. They're not just one particular type of way.
Yeah.
Um, I believe this way, or I live X, Y, and Z, and people are are finding comfort in that, right? So this is why I think a lot of the terms are kind of trying to come to the surface because people are trying to find ways to describe the life they live. Let me just give this one piece. I use this when I'm talking to people, especially melanated people, about our experience here in the Americas, if you will. Some of us are indigenous. Some of us may have come from the continent of Africa, if you will. I don't even like to use that term anymore, but nevertheless, let's use it. The point of what I'm saying is that although we've been disconnected from a lot of our history from a knowledge standpoint,
Mm-hmm.
not from a neurological or biological standpoint though. And why that's important is because one of the things I believe is that we're living in existence that we don't always have the words to articulate. In other words, there are things that I am constantly thinking. There are moments that I'm having. There are interactions that I'm having with nature and all these things that I don't have a language to describe that, nor has the European provided that. Right. So seems to be outside of that. So then it's like I don't have the words, but I know that there's something real and tangible about this. And I think that this is a part of like the season and the generation that we're in. And I think things are going to actually come to a point where things will start to kind of come back together, but that's going to take some time because we've got to get rid of a lot of this singular mentality shit. Which is what I call, well, not
Hey,
I call this, but it's
Kim.
been termed as herd mentality and herd morality.
Okay, so okay, so listen, I found a video. Again, this is just me quickly. Kim, welcome in. Nice. Thank you for coming by. As you see with the title, I had some questions about polygamy, right? I was
Right.
just interested. I'm definitely not interested in being a polygamist. Nothing about it is interesting to me, and other than understanding it, right? Only because that movie on Netflix came out called The Polygamist, and so I was like, oh shit. Okay, now, just because I found this podcast, Jason, and I never heard of it before, but I just did a quick search in there, black couple, and it's called Poly by Nature Podcast. It's a black and white couple, and one of their first videos was 3 years ago, and they talked about the myths and the truths of polygamy, and it's not that long. And I know that Truth was putting things up here to help us out, like I think she said fun facts or whatever, whatever, like just conversation points, which is perfectly fine. Truth, we appreciate that for real. um and Jason, and I don't know if we, because I don't know how it would tie into our video, and you'd probably be able to tie it in better than I could if it does tie in. You know what I mean? Because my
Hmm.
shit
Hmm.
real basic, real surface when I was looking it up. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
if that makes
Mm,
sense, 'cause you see
yeah.
how simple my shit was when I came on.
I think there's room for it, especially for those who are who are watching, or if you're able to see it. Basically, letting us know what are some thoughts that you may have had, and then we can address that or see kind of how this relates. But ultimately, once we see the video, we'll see how it does intertwine. And
Okay.
but because I think there are always points of relativity, it's just a matter of the route you take to get there.
Okay. Okay. Okie dokie. I'm gonna start the video, guys. So, okay, here's a basic definition she put in the chat. Polygamy is the practice of having more than one spouse at the same time. Okay. Okay, so I'm gonna share my screen, and you tell me when to stop it, Jason, or whatever. Okay, let me just share it. Um, yeah, let's watch this video and see what they talking about. I really wanted them to be black. I wanted to hear their experience. Okay, here we go. Uh, okay, here we go.
And eat it too. Welcome back. We are on to episode number 2, and today we discussing, what are we talking about today?
Polyamory, the definitions and our definitions.
Oh yeah, and the myths and stigmas and
Correct.
stereotypes and stuff like that. Okay, I'm on point. I got this. So we're gonna start with defining what polyamory is.
The
So
actual definition
yes,
of it.
so the basic
So I
definition.
looked it up and it says polyamory is the practice of or desire for intimate relationships with more than one partner with the knowledge of all partners' consensual, ethical, and responsible non monogamy.
So basically, you are in relationships,
Mhm.
and anyone that you're in a relationship with knows about anyone else that you're in a relationship with.
Correct. The no secrets, the no idea of, you know, anything hidden.
So with us, there's a lot of communication,
Hmm.
there's a lot of transparency,
Correct.
honesty, creating a safe space to speak whatever it is you may want to speak at any time.
Right. Well, and the idea is with a poly relationship, the relationships that we are having with other people aren't necessarily geared towards anything more than some of them are just friendships. Where in a monogamous relationship, maybe those friendships wouldn't be allowed.
Right, right.
So with the poly opportunity, it's just more people around. I feel more of a community vibe when it comes to those situations. Being able to have friends, maybe friends with different benefits or friends with different opportunities, or friends that maybe are defined into something else other than what the norm decides we can say friends are.
Have you have
Friends.
you had an instance where you've brung up you being poly and someone just has like this idea of it that just seems a little
Hmm.
outlandish?
I think that
All, yeah,
um,
quite often.
when you speak it to certain people, I'm
Wait,
gonna start at the
Jason,
top. When you
hold
speak
on.
it to
Let me
men,
pause that.
straight hetero.
Okay, tell me what you saying so far. What you saying? Let me pause.
Said, have you had an instance where you mentioned that you're poly and you're met with resistance, if you will, versus resistance versus acceptance? You
Okay.
know, that's the idea basically. It's like, oh, okay, cool, yeah, great. Like we were talking about with homosexuality earlier, which is it's like, why do we spend so much time on this subject when there are far more greater things that we could be talking about or
Right.
dealing with,
Right.
right? Homosexuality is not the end all be all of this fucking world that we live in. It's like, okay, who you love is who you love. Fuck it, go, yeah, let's run it. Let's move on to other things like why are these people molesting children and we're okay with it. You know what I mean? I think there's bigger shit, bigger fish to fry. But just like this is, yeah, okay, yeah. Well, you're potty, okay, great,
So
right? But
he's saying
that's not usually,
basically it's
yeah.
it. Yeah. Okay.
It's met with this, and because people, and again, it's new for mainstream culture. It's not new to the human experience,
Right. 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 Right.
but mainstream American culture, it is new, so it's being framed as that, but it's not new. It's been
Right.
around since the beginning of time. It's always been
Oh yeah. Of
a
course.
thing. It's part
Yeah.
of the human
Sure.
experience.
Yeah.
No, I don't think you believe that, but I'm
I
telling you
mean,
it
I
is.
know that. I mean, it's not.
I don't think you know because
First
you're
of
not
all,
interested in this.
nothing is new under the sun. That's number one. Number two, this shit is old. This has just been around for a very long time. I mean, I still don't believe that it's always been something accepted. Like, I know it's just a lot. We're just talking about this particularly, right? But there's
Right.
a lot of things that go on and that people do, from porn to, and I'm only using this because I'm using an example of things that people do in relationships that may not be widely accepted out, or they consider to be shamed about or something like that. You know what I'm saying? That
Mm-hmm.
works for them. And this is a black couple who has ventured into this lifestyle, and
Yeah.
it's a whole thing. I mean, there's videos all over about this, and then I'm learning from watching these two people. There's levels to it, and there's all these
Oh man.
it gets real complicated, and
You,
it's like, okay, I'm just trying to figure out what's going on over here. Like, what is the, I guess for me, what I'm, and I'm gonna go back to the video because we never get to finish, but uh what did he want? Well, I really want to know what, I want to talk to somebody. I want to know, what do you get out of it? So they talked about friendships, relationships. Um, do they have to be a spouse then, Jason? Is that what I'm understanding? Because
well,
you put a definition
so
polygamy.
polygamy and polyamory are different,
Okay.
right? So poly, like you said earlier, and actually, Tish or Truth actually mentioned some things here. Let me see. So if you, the basic idea is poly derives from the Greek, but it just means multiple,
Okay.
right? So polyamory is multiple love, if you will.
Okay.
Polygamy is multiple marriages where you're connected in these relationships like that.
Got you.
So some people are polyamorous and they love many. They love different people. They're
Okay.
open to that,
Okay. I'm
right?
following it. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And
So
polygamy is the act of being married to multiple people.
and being like in a legitimate relationship, if you will, with these particular people, a
Mhm.
marriage, I basically.
Okay. All right. I'm getting back to it. Okay. Gotcha. Gotcha.
Men and saying, "Hey, I'm poly." the idea is like, man, that's pretty cool because there is the notion that I can kind of go out and be with every woman in the world and not
That's
have to
not true.
really, do anything. I
Right.
can be the superstar guy
Mm-mm.
and just live this lavish fantasy of a life. Um,
No.
when it comes to females, hetero straight females, when I say I'm poly, I think the idea is that are you poly or are you just saying
Right.
that because you want to cheat and you have the right to go out and do something else, or you just kind of hiding and lying behind the scenes, and so there's definitely those stigmas, those ideas behind there. Just trying to dispel some of those ideas and myths that people believe, like maybe even trying to like entertain the idea that I'm poly, so maybe you can trick somebody into this relationship idea of like, well, he said he was poly when he started, so if he's cheating on me, that's his way of going about things. I was thinking about the family aspect of it. Um, my stepmom, when I talked about poly, she's just for reference, uh, Jamaican and born on the island and came here. But when I talked about it to her, her first thing was, "It's not a big deal. It's
Mhm.
about happiness." And she immediately said, "And Reese should have a couple friends." And not even about me. Like she did, she just immediately thought like, "Yeah, Reese deserves some friends." And then when I was like, "Oh yeah, me too," and she's like, "Yeah, yeah, I don't care about that." And so it was that idea when you see someone a little bit older, just kind of saying, "Okay, I get it, I understand it." And then in the reverse effect, I've had some family, a little bit older family members, that kind of like, man, that's not, is that fair to Reese? Is that, is she
Her,
sticking
she's
around
Reese.
because
That's
she's
his wife.
afraid to leave you, or, why would you hurt her, kind of thing, that nature. So it's interesting to think that some dynamics of poly are perceived by people as like, okay, he's finding
Bad.
happiness.
Yeah.
And then the other people are like, oh man, they're just together because they're afraid to be apart and they're going to be toxic to each other secretly, doing these things behind each other's back.
I think I've only had a conversation about it with one family member, and it wasn't a big deal because it was my sister, and
Right.
it wasn't a big deal at all. We were
Like
just
nobody's
talking about it.
surprised. Like, oh my
Yeah,
God.
we just had a conversation about it. But
Nobody was like, why are you doing this? Or like,
right, there
you know,
was no questioning of it. I've I've had some conversation with some men since we've announced that we were doing the podcast, and since I've been posting stuff on my personal page. And I've gotten a lot of questions, basically mostly on how does it work?
right.
Like,
Yeah.
so you get to have boyfriends, you got a boyfriend, he got a girlfriend, so y'all spending the night over other people's
Get your spend the
house.
night bag ready.
Spending the night. And like, how do you balance time, and what about jealousy, and okay, what if his girlfriend catches feelings for him, like just n- genuine questions, like they're literally
My
curious
type of question.
and somewhat interested
Right. Because
in the idea of it.
well, yeah,
You know,
because
so
the
you're
idea would
interested?
be, hey, I can have
No, I want to
that
know why the
person in my
fuck you
life,
want to
right? But then I
do it.
don't have to commit to certain situations because some people associate poly with the motion of not committing, right? This idea that I can be in a relationship, but I don't have to be committed to you and honest to you and respectful to
Because you're poly.
because you're poly. Like it's
Yeah.
this free for all that you can go in there. So it's like, oh, so people who may be asking are like, oh, so you can come over real quick. Like I don't even like they would assume that like, hey, we don't have to build a friendship or relationship. Like it's like automatically like right to
I
the
don't
old,
see it that
hey, so come
way.
over and have sex with me. Like if your man's cool with it, can come through, or if your female's cool with it, then come through. Versus, hey, we're trying to build sustainable relationships. We're trying to build a foundation of growth and just this.
Right. So it's like I think like that part where you could just sleep with whoever you want. I think that's very like juvenile shit.
Juvenile.
Yeah, yeah. That's
It's
just
very
like,
juvenile.
come on. That's what a little kid would think. And that's not. I understand that we can jump past that. I understand that. Uh, it's a relationship. It's not just fucking around. That's just fucking around. You know what I'm saying? Or being okay with your nigga being with another woman. I'm looking at the poly shit like you're in full blown relationships. Now, my thing is, do y'all all live under the same roof? Like I'm interested, like, how does that shit work? Like, that's like,
They
and
can.
is it only the man? Because this sounds like she could do it too. Like, or is that just that because they start talking about rules, and I think I was watching one of their other podcasts and they talked about those are the rules that you make up with the group that you're with, who can do what. And I'm like, I can barely manage my one relationship. It's
Yeah.
enough. It is enough.
Yeah.
I'm not interested in splitting myself and my time with more than one person.
Hmm.
I
You know,
mean, but that's me. I don't know.
yeah, and I think that's a consideration. And I think that's one consideration that you have to make as it relates to who you actually are. And then kind of what makes you tick. You know, I remember there was a time where that came up on my radar, if you will. And the question was posed to me at that time was, well, if you want a girlfriend, I mentioned this before, it's like, well, if you want a girlfriend, too, in addition to, this relationship, then how do you feel about me having a boyfriend? And at that time, I really wasn't okay with that because I had to sit with that because my worldview at that time was limited based on my experiences. And really, I wasn't evolved emotionally enough to deal with that. Because so this is something that I think is important is emotional evolution or emotional development.
Hmm.
E- Communication is not a byproduct of a scenario like this, right? In other words, it doesn't just happen. Communication is intentional, right? You have to legitimately be okay with communicating and being communicated to in order for any type of legitimate, healthy relationship to foster it for growth. And here's the fucked up part about it. I think in a lot of cases that most of us don't realize that we're just talking to people, but we're not really communicating.
Hmm.
And talking and communication is not the same thing. So, is it important? Yeah. Is it important for people to have personal growth and development in order for these type of scenarios to work? Absolutely. They have to be. And they can be, but the thing is, you got to know where your thing is. So in that scenario I was sharing with you guys, yeah, at that time I was like, I can't stomach the idea of you being with someone else.
Hmm.
And I'm with you. And I know and so what did that bring up for me? If I were to be honest,
Hmm.
it brought up insecurities.
Uh-huh. They're gonna talk
It,
about that. Yeah.
it brought up performance anxiety. It
Hmm.
brought up, well, maybe you're doing this because you're not happy.
Hmm.
It brought up a variety of things that had nothing to do with the other person, had everything to do with me, what
Hmm.
I understood, and where I was at emotionally.
Right.
That's a me thing.
Right.
That was a personal. So again, I think in sometimes when you get kicked back or you get pushed back to whatever, especially when people ask you shit about what the fuck you doing, and then want to comment about as if what the fuck they're saying matters. It's like, listen, that's your personal shit. Like
Right.
that's your thing. Like and that's where you're at in your journey. That's as far as you've gotten. Maybe that's all you will do. Maybe that's all you need to do. Who the fuck knows?
Right.
But I can be, if I were to be honest, going back to as far as I could go back in my thought processes,
Uh-huh.
even when I was in Ascension,
Uh-huh.
these thought processes were there.
Uh-huh.
The idea of being with two people or multiple partners that knew about each other, that shit was there even back then,
Right.
believe it or not. So there is that.
I don't think that's hard to believe, especially for a man.
Yeah, well, maybe yes and no, because
You
again, we
niggas are
are.
just, you niggas are what do you call it when you're animalistic? Okay, okay. Let me go to the video. Okay, you. You guys are just creatures. Okay, we have a
We're
question here.
just. Did you say we're just creatures?
Yeah. Animals. You're just animals. Okay, look at this question.
No, you're not. Okay, what's up?
Read that question.
Um, can she live in the house now that you are evolved emotionally? Can she live in the house with you and the other partners
Hmm.
while dating her new dude? Okay, so let's say
Is this Polly? Is that Polly?
this is what she's I think she's saying. So she's asking, is it possible for you to be in a polyamorous relationship
Uh huh.
where you have there are two women with me, if you will, and then we're all living in the same house. And then the other one of the other partners is has a boyfriend on the side,
Okay.
in addition to,
Okay.
right? And this is what I think she's saying. Um, I think
Andrea,
I, I think it would
hi
depend.
Chico.
Hey, what's happening, y'all? Thank y'all for sliding. I think it would depend. I made this statement one time, and I was dead ass serious, right?
Hmm.
I and now, mind you, I want to preface this with a grain of salt. I want to say this. I I can trace where I am by what I commit, right? Or what I commit to. I can trace that. I can trace my growth based on how I'm able to talk about certain things, what I can talk about openly and what I don't. I say all that to say, um, because I don't do a lot of backtracking. I don't do a lot of, well, I said that, but who gives a fuck? No. I'm gonna own the shit that I say. And I live by that. Now, I say that to say this. I had never knew that a scenario could happen with me where I could have affection towards a woman
Uh huh.
and legitimately say, you know what? I would share you with him.
So you
Now,
can't you've never
no,
you can't see
no,
that.
here's what I'm saying. No, no, no. Here's what I'm saying. I made that statement that I could do that.
Uh-huh. You could do
Right. So
that.
yeah, I make that statement that I could do that.
Uh-huh.
And I said this to her. Right.
Uh-huh.
Now, here's what's interesting about that. Prior to me making that statement, was that ever a possibility? No. I had never thought that I would even consider some shit like that. Right. Because I am very territorial too. I'm
Uh-huh.
very territorial.
Uh-huh.
I'm very territorial. I'm territorial even when it comes to my children, yeah, all that shit, right? I protect mine. At the same time, I didn't know, but I don't know what it was about her or what it was about the dynamic that we were fostering
Uh-huh.
that elicited that type of reaction because she was in a scenario, right? And I said, if things were different, I actually would. And I'm not that type of an individual. I didn't think I was. So I say all that to say and to answer that question that came up, is it
Uh-huh.
possible? Yeah, I think anything's possible. I think anything is possible when you open yourself up to it and these things align with who you actually are, especially if it's on the trajectory of your growth, your growth spectrum. I think this shit makes the difference. If I'm living my
So
life based on, go
uh-huh.
ahead.
No, I'm not trying to understand the answer to this question. Can she live in the house with you and the other partners while dating her new dude? So you have a woman.
Yeah.
You guys are all living together. The question is, right now that you're saying you've emotionally evolved, or would you be okay? Do you think you would be okay with this woman that you live with in your house dating someone else?
Okay. Okay. So,
I think that's what she said.
possible,
Dating her new dude.
possible. In a polyamorous scenario, absolutely.
Okay.
In a polygamous scenario,
There's
possibly not.
marriage. Okay.
Yeah,
So marriage,
possibly not.
no. Okay.
In a
Got
polygamous scenario, because here's the thing: we're
it.
intertwining our resources, our finances. We're intertwining a lot, right? And then we're committed ultimately to a goal, right? We're heading somewhere with this.
Mm-hmm.
It's it's different when you interject other people's opinions. So us three might be going north, but what if this other person wants to go south? Well, now you take three legs of a table, you take one of those legs away, and what happens is you have instability. So I think there that has to be a consideration. So I think in a polygamous type of scenario, possibly not. I mean, obviously open to communication, maybe, especially if we're all ultimately going the same direction or we're all ultimately committed to building this same type of scenario or family or familial network, maybe. And again, I'm
Polygamy.
not going to say it's a deal breaker. It's an absolute no. I don't believe in absolutes. But what I do believe is there would be some questions, there will be some feelings I would have to deal with as it relates to that and kind of have those conversations. But depending on who the person is, and what their thing is, and what are we trying to accomplish? Could it be possible? Maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Polyamory, definitely though. I think because again, you're it's polyamory, right?
Within the
It's
relationship.
it's
So
within the
polyamory,
confines of that.
you don't necessarily have to live under the same roof.
Nah, no,
That's
not
just
not
like
at all.
dating someone. You're just dating multiple people.
Honestly, even with polygamy, some people don't. If in my perfect
That's
scenario,
that's
we'd
true.
all live together. In my perfect scenario,
Because that show I told you I was watching, they lived in.
yeah.
He had multiple wives in different homes.
Yeah, see now that type of shit,
They didn't sleep together. The wives didn't. He could just go wherever he wanted.
and again, and here's the other part, right? Because that is also another type of scenario. Some people in some relationships are like that, where they're triangulated. So the women are together, the men and the male is together with both of the women, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Right? There are some scenarios like that. There are other scenarios where it's just the man is sexually involved with both of the different women, right? Or how many of her wives there are, but whatever
Mm-hmm.
the case may be. So there are those scenarios. There's a variety of different scenarios, but again, it just kind of depends on where you're at
Yeah, they
in
talk.
your journey as it relates to it.
Mm-hmm.
So because it can be different, right? It can be. I know of scenarios where there's men who are uh two men and there's one woman, right? And then she doesn't want them to have any other females except for her. There
Right.
are those scenarios.
Right.
And there are people that are cool with that. Just like why is it the whole idea of a cuckold? He's finding pleasure in seeing her be pleasured by somebody else. Well, that's a real fucking thing,
Mm-hmm.
right? People haven't, they gave it that name. But if you put that same type of energy in a relational context, it could be very polyamorous because he may not be involved with the guy, right? But he's there and he watches the interaction and he gets off of that interaction, or he finds
Like,
enjoyment.
a lot of men
Well,
do. I mean, not just men, but you know, I look at it.
whatever. Yeah,
Women do it, yeah, but I mean, that's what they said he did. That was one of the things. But again, if
yeah.
everything's consensual, and that's what people like. Okay, let's go to the video. I don't know. Let's see what they say. It's not
Yeah,
that long.
No, true. No,
um,
that would be a polygamist, not polyamorous. It would be that I would say that there's a distinction. The highlight of a polygamous relationship will be the combining of everything. Polyamory wouldn't necessarily necessitate that because polyamory is I have love for this person, I have love for that person. We share moments with each other and we share space. We don't necessarily aren't necessarily tied into financial obligations, shit like that, right?
That's
That's
polygamy.
not necessarily the case. That would be more of on the polygamy when you're married. Because again, with marriage, you start sharing shit. You
Mm,
start sharing your resources, finances, debts, and all that other bullshit.
right. Okay. Okay, I'm gonna go through the thing. Let me see what else these niggas talk. No, I'm just kidding.
for the night one night stands, and we're
Right.
not looking for the quick hit and quits.
So I had another conversation with a person, which was like the complete opposite. This one, a guy too. I mostly talk to guys.
Right, and I'm also talk to females.
So this guy was like, well, that's weird.
Yeah,
what's that, like a cult or something?
you brainwashed.
Yeah. Well, uh, so he just can cheat on you. Like that don't make no sense.
Right. Because some females, like when you tell a female that if I approach a female and say, "Oh, hey, have a conversation," and I'm poly, and it's like, "Oh, yo, chick dumb." Well, what
Right.
you mean she dumb? Well, like she gonna just let you go out there and do that? Like she gonna let you
No.
go out and cheat on her, and she just gonna accept that? Like, what's so good about you? And I'm like, that's not the actual idea in there. That's quite the opposite of what we're doing in here. And so when you hear from a male or female perspective, there's this idea that one of us has to be just allowing the other person to do something.
Right.
Like we're just accepting less because we want to just stay with that person. And we're giving up our morals and our values to then say, it's okay for you to go out and do whatever you want as long as you don't leave me.
Right.
That's not that's not real. And it's unfortunate because in some monogamous relationships that actually still actually happens. There's a lot of people in
Yeah.
monogamous relationships who know their spouses are cheating but
Yeah.
kind of sweep it under the rug or don't talk about it.
Exactly.
There's no real communication about it, and
And
it's just
you
an
know it's
embarrassing
happening.
thing.
Yeah,
So
that's
when you
And
have
yeah,
that conversation about a man, hey,
yeah. And that's
see,
polygamy. Right? No,
but
polyamorous or whatever.
yeah,
Right? Or
but see, and that's the thing because yes, we do know it happens, right? And it has been happening. We haven't put a name to it, and nor has it been accepted in our mainstream culture. But it has been a widely known. One of the an old thing for the old school. One of the statements that people used to make would be you'd find out how many family member or how many other relationships he had when he died, and Sister Pearl and so on
oh,
and so forth,
right. Yeah, yo,
that type
that's
of
old
shit,
school.
right?
Yeah, yeah,
That's
yeah.
old school.
They had
Was
multiple wives or relationships and
had
kids.
multiple functioning relationships. There are scenarios where people
Absolutely.
had multiple whole different fucking families
My
in other parts of the country,
oh, you
right?
know
Or
that personally. We that's that yo. Oh yeah, that happened right there in the hood. We know them. So what that was Polly? Was that Polly,
well, here's the thing though.
Jason?
Ultimately, yes, that would fall under the umbrella. We didn't call it that then. We
Right.
didn't have a language to describe that, right? We hadn't been given that. Now people are kind of walking in their truth. Well, yeah, that would fall under a scenario with that would actually be
That's a
classified as non.
polyamorous.
No, hold on.
No.
That would be classified as non-ethical monogamy. Okay, so let me explain the difference between. Well, you know the difference. Non-ethical and ethical. Ethical monogamy means we're together. Me and this woman, we're together, and
Right.
then whatever, right?
Right.
Non or ethical non-monogamy means you know about the partners that I have, right? We that's all known, right? There's no secrets, there's no
That's
baby mama drama
ethical.
over here.
Ethical. What? Non-monogamy.
Non-monogamy, right? There's ethical non-monogamy.
Right.
When you have non-ethical monogamy is when you have a
He
person who's
cheats.
married and he cheats.
Okay.
That's non-ethical monogamy. Well, because the ethical part is the fact that you are declaring, hey, this is what I'm doing. This is who I am.
Right.
I love you, but I also can love someone else.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to take you from believing or living the way that you live.
That's
That's fine. But as it relates to me, I'm no longer into like the whole idea of monogamy.
right.
I don't
That's just
believe
not
in that
you
whole.
being upfront. But what was okay? So then, what is the polyamory part? So if we got ethical
Mhm.
non-monogamy. Is that the same as polyamorous?
It can fall under the umbrella, yes, right? So can those terms be used interchangeably? Absolutely. They can be. When you get into the community, for instance, earlier today you made a statement like, man, we used to just call it gay
Yeah.
when you had LGBTQ, you had binary, you had non-binary, you had trans, you have all these new terms.
Right.
When you're within the community and you're sensitive to the community, that LGBTQI or questioning, yeah, I forget what I was, but I remember anyway, that was another one that came in. You have lesbian, gay, bi, trans questioning. And then I forget what the I meant. Well, anyway, within the community, right under that umbrella, you had all these other things that came, all these other titles or ways in which you can express, this, and it falls under a
Right.
classification. Same
So
way this kind of works, right? It's
right.
a larger classification, but then you have all these other derivatives of that classification. So I say that to say this. Um, these are terms that are given. What people ascribe to is what they ascribe to, but this is a way to help try to make it make sense,
Right.
right? Non-ethical monogamy is a nigga cheating.
Right.
Ethical non-monogamy means that
You're not
um
monogamous and they know
I'm
about it.
not monogamous and they know about it. And so I would share it. Now, could that be similar to polyamory? Absolutely. It can be. Polyamory though is we're all kind of into this thing together,
Together. I would
right?
know the girl or the lady.
Yeah,
We would know
exactly.
each
See, there
other.
we go.
And she
There
would
we go.
be so we would be connected in some way.
Yeah, and in those other scenarios, like you may not know that other person, but you do know that they have somebody else, or you do know that they're open to being with somebody else, and maybe I'm open to being with somebody else as well. And then maybe at some point, here's a good example. You know how people have side pieces,
Mm,
right? You have a girlfriend, you have a side piece. The side piece knows about the girlfriend, but sometimes the girlfriend doesn't know about the side piece, right?
mm-hmm.
In those type of scenarios. Well, in that type of case, there isn't the full transparency piece that comes in a polyamorous scenario. You can't classify that as polyamory because one person is not aware of what's happening. So
Right.
polyamory means that we are all in this shit together. We understand. I understand that he has a girlfriend. Um, he has another girl. I'm his girl, and I'm okay with being so with him and whatever the case may be. We're together. We understand. There's been an agreement there. We're moving in whatever direction, right? So that would be the thing way I could help kind of distinguish between. Well, would it be polyamorous? It would only be polyamory if all parties involved agree that this is what's happening. When people don't know, that's a different scenario.
Right. Okay. Okay, hold on. I'm gonna go back to the video.
Yeah, I'm gonna go out and have a female friend. People are like, "Oh man, she must be at home just knowing that she getting cheated on and knowing that he's out here doing this or that." And yeah, that's not the case.
So, what we're going to do is dive into specifically some of those myths
Hmm.
and stereotypes, stigmas, whatever you want to call them.
Hmm.
Just the things that people assume quickly when
Right.
they hear polyamory. So, the first one is basically that is cheating.
Right. So the
It's
idea
not
that
cheating. We know
we
that
aren't being honest
because
to each other,
everybody
and we have
knows.
this like hall pass to go and do whatever we want.
Hall pass, basically. And
Hall
so,
pass.
it's the
Not
idea
cheating.
that you're allowing someone to cheat,
Right. But
which,
You're
it's not
allowing
real
someone to cheat.
because no one's being allowed to do anything that isn't completely spoken up front.
right.
Hmm.
That's not completely agreed upon. And
And cheating, go ahead, go ahead.
no, I just think that like the word cheating just comes from a word that just says like we're doing something bad
Right,
and we're hiding. And like I think of cheating and like think of it as in a game. Like if I'm cheating in the Monopoly, I'm hiding money behind my pockets, or I'm doing something that
Right.
that cheats the system. We're not cheating the system.
right,
No, because you told her that you're sleeping with somebody else and you're getting emotionally involved, and splitting your resources, which is your time, your energy, your space, your spit, your saliva, your anything you want. You mean to tell me you gonna sit up here and tell me I'm gonna see somebody else and I'm gonna be like, okay, I, I know it happens, but I'm having a
Yeah.
hard time with it, and I'm gonna tell you,
Well.
I understand that it's not cheating. I get that part.
Hmm.
It's not
Yeah.
cheating. Listen, I'm a very open-minded person. I know I talk shit. I am. I'm okay with it. I would. I mean, with other people doing it. What I'm saying is, there is no way in hell I would be okay. Maybe because I'm selfish. Okay, fine.
Well, so
I don't want
here we go.
to share, but they okay. I'm
Here we
not.
go. Because that makes that's an observation, right? That could be an observation for you, right? That could be an observation that you can use to chart where you're at in your journey. And if there's ever a need for you to move any further, who knows? No one is saying that you have to be okay with anything. No one is saying that you have to be okay with Christianity. You have to be okay with Buddhism. You have to be okay with atheism. You have to be okay with homosexuality. You have to be okay with niggas. You have to be okay with white folks. No one is saying you have to be okay with whatever the fuck is out there. No one is saying that.
Hmm.
What I think the argument ultimately is when we start to make what my lived reality,
Yeah.
should be
Fact.
your lived
Guess
reality,
what?
right?
Guess what separates that?
Mm-hmm.
Understanding, asking
Under,
questions. So that's why I wanted to do this topic, because it doesn't mean I ever would have to be okay with it for myself and my life. But I'm very interested, and these types of myths that they're bringing up right now. They're only on the first one, but this is what I think about. But I don't use the word cheating, because to me cheating is lying, right?
right. Mm-hmm.
That's an underhanded situation. I'm talking about two highly functional, educated, non stupid, okay, I'm sorry, person that's
Mm-hmm.
making an intelligent, informed decision for themselves. I, just like you said, as a young child, you thought about it. Well, what you may not have been able to have a term for it, but it was, listen, there is this type of thinking. Is it what do you call it when it's just like
Ego,
organic? Like,
ego driven,
no, no,
thinking
no,
with your dick.
no, no, no. Just like people are born gay. If that,
Yeah.
are
Okay.
you born think a polygamist, or
Well,
polygamy?
that's
No.
now that's a great question. That's a really great one, and that's something that I don't think that there is one consensus for. I would say this though: if you were to look at, and you can't even say historically to a degree, because historically, like you could, if you were to base an assumption of 400 years of people, of melanated people in this country, then you would say that they've always been slaves and they've only just now been free. If you base it solely on that, if you look at it from a broader context, you realize what that 400 years is actually a blip on the radar, because melanated people have been here on this planet the longest, right? There was a blip on the radar. That just depends on context. So when it comes to scenarios like this one, it's context. And it has everything to do with your understanding of whatever it is. So if when we get to the spaces where we can have open dialogue, and we're okay with having open dialogue, and we're okay with sharing, okay, this is my truth, and I'm not saying that my truth has to be your truth.
Hmm.
But I'm open to hearing what your truth is as well. And we
Right.
create these spaces to where we can cathartically communicate.
Right.
From genuine and open and transparent communication can come so many fucking great things. We're just often afraid of having a voice and being willing to do two things. I'm willing to share what concerns me, and I'm also willing to hear what concerns you.
Hmm.
And from that point, we then do this part that I talk about on our podcast, is identifying what's my shit, what's your shit, and what's our shit.
Hmm.
Our shit is the shared communication. our shit is when, and I said this once before, it's like it's when we begin to develop a language a shared language between us, right? It's so that we understand where each one is coming from. I understand what this means when you say this. Although in my worldview, it used to mean X, Y, and Z. But when you say it, I realize that that's not what you mean. You're not basing it on what my world experiences were. You're actually basing it on yours. And in yours, it's different than mine. So I'm open to understanding that. And what I'm saying about whether it's polyamory, whether it's your traditional monogamous relationships, whether it's relationships with your fucking coworkers, your boss, fucking girlfriends, and I mean girlfriends like girls be having girlfriends, not like sexual relationship type shit. But in all of this, everything that humans do is relationally driven. Everything we do. We have relationships with fucking brands. We have relationships with, you showed me a fucking hoodie and you was like, oh, I just love this brand of hoodies. You have a relationship with that. And what keeps you honest, what keeps you connected to that brand is when you feel like what's important to you is reflected in that brand. The moment you feel like it's not is when you say, "Oh, I no longer feel the way that I felt about this type of hoodie." And I can't remember the name of it, but whatever it was, you just raved about it. You call it your snack hoodie or whatever it was.
Yeah, come on,
Eh,
bitch. Let's go back to you.
no, no,
No,
no,
come.
no, no. I'm saying,
You called it the snack hoodie because of the pocket, nigga. It's
oh,
comfort.
I thought that was the name. I'm
It was
sorry.
comfort. You called it the
No, no,
snack
no,
hoodie. The
no.
name of it
My
is comfort because it
apologies.
has a pocket, y'all, with a zipper on the inside.
But
Go ahead.
okay, so my apologies. But I'm saying you were so like, oh, I just love this. I love the way it's designed. I love the way it feels. You have a few of them already, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And what I mean by that is I'm just using that as example,
Yeah, yeah.
right? Some people fuck with Nike. Some people fuck with Adidas. Some people fuck with whatever it is. The thing is that it's relationally driven.
Mm-hmm.
Everything humans do is always relationally driven. And there are some things that work and some things that just don't foster good relational dynamics. Unless you're okay with monolithic dynamics or you're okay with myopic or singular in vision, singular in pathway, one way type of shit in your relationships. If your relationships reflect one way roads, well, that's the world that you live within.
Mm-hmm.
That's the expectations that you've allowed to be developed around you. That's the expectations you have for others. It's one fucking way. It's one road, one direction. Okay, cool. Right. But you should know that. And be aware that this is what my thing is. And so what I'm saying with all of this is again, poly is I think is a thing. I think it goes back further than what we give credence to. When you look at historically what's happened, when you understand, I'm innately aware of what it means to be me. I remember having certain thoughts. I remember thinking that I was wrong because what my thoughts were did not reflect what my imposed upon values should have been, quote unquote, right?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't see this reflected in my household. I didn't hear these conversations had. All I know is that there were times where I felt differently, but I did not give myself room nor the permission to have an audience with my emotions and my thoughts and my beliefs. It wasn't until I gave myself permission to give audience to my thoughts, emotions, and beliefs that I began to see, well, what actually it is that I believe. And how does this inform my lived experiences moving forward? And my lived experiences are ultimately experiences that I am choosing. I'm not allowing other people to create for me. I'm choosing what works for me and what doesn't.
Right.
if that makes any sense.
Right. Okay, let me go back to the video because I want to see what these other myths are. Hold on.
And cheating kind of sounds like lying,
Yeah.
like you said, hiding, not,
Mistrust.
yeah,
Yeah.
trying to get away with something,
Yeah.
basically.
Sneaking. Creeping.
So on top of
Creepy.
that,
Right.
another one is that there is no cheating in polyamory.
Correct. And
There
that's
definitely is cheating in
their
There
cheating in
polyamory.
is cheating.
polyamory. Very much so.
Absolutely.
Because there's an agreement that's preset. Hopefully, if you're poly, everyone has this conversation and you agree to things to say, hey, here's where I feel comfortable, here's what the line is. And monogamous or poly, if the line is set by everybody involved and one person seems to want to say, hey, I'm just going to slightly step over the line, that's cheating.
Right.
There's some things that we discuss and say, hey, we don't feel comfortable with this yet, or we don't feel comfortable with these situations yet, or hey, go as far as this. If we're all having those honest conversations and saying, okay, I respect that, I can live with that, that boundary is set, then that's fine. But if you cross the line on that boundary, no matter what kind of relationship you're going to call it, it's cheating. Business, personal, anything like that.
Like in monogamy, you set up your own boundaries.
Right.
So you in a monogamous relationship, sexting
Hmm.
may be cheating
Texting as in like flirtatious flirt text.
through text. Yeah.
Okay.
Flirting
Hmm.
Yeah.
with someone could be cheating.
Oh,
Hmm.
Watching
and you
porn
niggas is
could be
guilty as a
considered cheating.
motherfucker of that.
Like you make up in your own relationship
Ooh,
what you can boundaries.
boundaries.
You make up what you consider cheating to be. So when you're in a polyamorous relationship together with your partner, you make up what you consider cheating to be. And if those boundaries are crossed, then it's considered cheating. So yes, cheating does happen in polyamory. And another misconception is that you have to be part of the LGBTQ community, meaning you have to be gay or bisexual
Hmm.
to be poly. And I think that I see a lot of that towards women
Right.
because it's like, okay, there's a guy, he has these two women, they're bisexual.
Right. Because that's what when I first looked up poly and what it looked like, what it should or could look like, I seen a man, two women, French kissing, and just like having his time. And I'm like, oh, this is what poly means. Now in my world, I'm like, this is exactly what I would love to see every day. But I also realize that that is a situational uh, relationship, meaning everyone in that part has agreed, okay, we should be a triad, we should
Mhm.
be a closed triad, or somewhere in that
Situation.
nature that makes sense. That's the one thing about poly that I love is no one poly fits everybody the same.
No.
It is just this kind of like molding aspect of a relationship that can take us to anywhere you want to go. So you can come in with the idea, like we said, boundaries change. The poly relationships can change over time. There could be these ideas that, hey, when we get into it, we want to maybe walk this path. But as we're starting to walk that path, we could realize, you know what, I really like what that looks like over there.
Next one is that if you have multiple partners, that you love one or more of them less.
Gotcha. Like a hierarchy type system that will come in there. And I don't know if we're at the point of explaining
No, but
relationships yet, but
it's kind of like that you have to have a main person, or you have to choose who you love more than this one. Or say if you're take us to if you're seeing someone else, it's because you love me less or something like that. Like
right.
you have to divvy up love.
Well, yeah, and there was a great video I watched the other day where somebody had said, the young lady had said, if he has a sister, he can't love, he has two sisters, he can't love his sisters the same. And if he has a parents, he can't love his parents equally. So why would I have to then choose if I'm with another partner and you? Why do I have to choose who to
Mm,
love more?
Right.
Right? Why does there need to be like a level of percentage of love? Like, oh, I love her 80%, I love her 20%, versus just love, right? I was thinking about the family dynamic real quick, and I just want to touch on this one because we don't speak about this. But what was the motion or the conversation that you had when you told your kids that you were poly? How did you kind of like go
I
over
don't
the
remember
kids?
that conversation.
Because I mean, I think
so
They know.
our family's extremely fluid. Like I think we have a pretty good dynamic when it comes to just
I wanted to touch on something. I thought he was going to go a different direction with that statement that he was making. Um, But I think in that it says a lot. And this is the part I'm talking about is if we liken this to brands, we liken this to anything like that, and we liken this to children, and we liken this to being within these contexts, there are moments, and this shit is fluid, right? Now, some parents believe, I've heard this said at least, that every parent has a favorite child. I don't know necessarily about that. Um, I know that growing up, I knew who was the favorite in the household I grew up in, right? Well, one of them. One of the households I grew up in, I knew that I was not a favorite.
Mm-hmm.
In another household that I grew up in, I felt that I felt differently about that, right? I felt like if anything, we were on even scales, but it definitely wasn't big eye, little you type of shit,
Mm-hmm.
right? I know that when it comes to my children, and maybe because they're not so close in age, they're just uniquely different,
Right.
right? And I love them individually. And I know this sounds like the politically correct. And again, family members, whoever, correct me if I'm wrong. I mean, if you feel differently, that's okay. I don't think there's any judgment here with this one. There
Mm-hmm.
shouldn't be any judgment here because again, there may be some reason for that. Maybe parts of you connect more with one child versus the other. For me, the way that my children are spread out, they're reflective of different facets of me, right? So again, this is just the way I'm able to see it.
Mm-hmm.
I say all that to say though is that I think in a genuine situation, you can actually see where yeah, I love this child. I also love this one. I might love them differently because they're not the same.
Mm-hmm.
One child might need more affection than the other child. The other child might need more playtime than the other child. Who
Mm-hmm.
the fuck cares what and which one needs what? It's a matter of meeting people at their needs and what they need, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I think when it comes to a scenario like, and so I thought he was going to go to
They
was
are in a
how does
second.
poly,
They're
huh?
about to talk about that whole idea of, because they're about to not agree on that in a second. I think I
Oh,
saw
really? Okay,
I
okay.
saw two of their videos. I think this is the one where he's about to talk. She's about to not agree about this, the ways you can divvy out love, the high, divvying out the love.
Like through a hierarchy.
Yeah, like
Yeah, yeah.
giving one more
And
than the other. He's about to. I think I can't remember which way it's gonna go, but yeah, she's gonna be talking.
yeah. And I'll say this before they get there is too is from a therapeutic standpoint, what happens though is that's a triangulated type of relationship, right? Where one person plays the middleman between the other two sides or whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like how you get me to align with you is what I do. This is the same shit they do with politics and party lines. That shit is ineffective. That's a terrible way of approach. It's a terrible way to divvy out love and affection towards people because, again, here's what we see in politics. And we're just mimicking and mirroring this same dumb shit. When a Republican is in office, Democrats feel like they're invincible.
Mm-hmm.
When a Democrat's in office, Republicans feel like they're invisible. What the fuck are you talking about? And why do we have these weird ass invisible lines that we've created? And then why do we think that that shit's effective? All that does is creates the world that we see where we're vying for attention. And if I can just get you enough of you motherfuckers to vote or to think like this, then we can get what we want. Yay. Fuck them. But yay for us. And what do we have is we have this whole system that's predicated on triangulated relationships. How can I get you people to now agree with me? And hey, if you really want my attention, then you need to do what I want. Uh, in other words, right? So again, you then see this same type of shit with parenting. Some parents will do this to their children. They will triangulate the fuck out of that scenario to where it's this child, that child, at separate ends of a fucking triangle. If you think about it like that, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um, and then which one gets the attention is the one that plays by that person's rules
Mm-hmm.
the most. The one that doesn't get the attention is the one that doesn't play by
So
the same
you're
rules.
tying that into this video because
Yes, because when we're talking about a polyamorous type of scenario
mhm,
or being open to this idea, is what most people think happens is okay, well, there's this power dynamic.
that where you
Well,
have to share their time.
right, but no, it's not about sharing time. It's
Mm-hmm.
about what's favored over the other because that's coming from the same way that we see in these ineffective relationships. That shit is ineffective, and that's not actually the model. Polyamorous ones that are successful, they're not based upon this wife and that wife. Which one of y'all is going to get most more of my attention is based on who does what I say the most. That's not how this shit works. All you're creating is a fucking problem, and you're creating a scenario like you were just talking about earlier, where somebody gets pissed off and says, "Fuck it, I'm gonna kill this motherfucker."
Right.
Right? Because what you're doing is, why do we see some kids then will turn their back on their parents and siblings because of scenarios like this?
Mm-hmm.
Because it's unhealthy. So to think that, well,
I told
polyamory has to reflect the same things because this is what we see in this. No, it doesn't. And it actually can be different again as people have evolved emotionally. And I do want to say this because I know we're running late on time. I do want to speak to this statement, the question that was asked. And you guys listen, and we love questions, so please feel free to speak, ask, send questions, or whatever the case may be. And we're going to do our best to try to answer them so that you are aware that we do see you and we want to make sure engage with you. But here's the question. It says, hold on, let me see. Let me go back up. Hold on. Okay. So it says, with all due respect, you mentioned earlier that the poly lifestyle has always attracted you since elementary. Um, but being that young and exploring the possibilities of the lifestyle, you've been married multiple times since then. Why didn't you start with the lifestyle? Instead, you explored it after the divorce. Okay. Um, so in my diatribe earlier, if you will, when I was saying about giving yourself permission to give your thoughts, emotions, and beliefs audience, that makes the difference. So in my earlier parts or the earlier ways in which I expressed myself a lot of it was based on what I was taught that was supposed to be, right? My imposed customary values. So these were things that were given to me. And I didn't see certain things reflected. The statement I made earlier as well speaks to this point was I feel like as people we're living an experience that we don't always have the words to articulate. What that means is that I may have beliefs, ideas, and feelings about things that I don't necessarily give audience to. I don't necessarily see it reflected. There's no actual word or definition in my world space because nobody else has talked about it either to give me that context. So it's just a thought that bounces around in the recesses of my mind. I know it's there, but I don't really entertain it too often, although it comes up. One of the things about growth and evolution. Yes, I have been married a few different times. The difference, I think, for me, and one of the things I will take away as a blessing, though, is that would I be the same version of me if I were still married? I do not know. And I wonder if I wouldn't be, because I would still be playing by the rules
Mm-hmm.
that were imposed upon me. The
Right.
difference was is that when that context was shifted for me, and I no longer was required to play by anyone's specific rules, then it became character about, well, what is it that I actually believe in? What is it that actually ticks? What makes me tick? A part of my evolution of loving myself began this whole search and this journey inward instead of outward. So I don't go and travel and do all these things as an outward or external exploratory method. No, my travels are ultimately reflective of internal beliefs. My travel now is reflective of who I am. I'm intentional about where I go and when I go and how I go. And so the places that I look for, the things I'm open to, when I go to different places, like I went out with a friend of mine, went to fucking Washington, had an unbelievable time there, wasn't even feeling my best, right? But I was able to see something I had never seen before. But that shit just kept coming across my, I would talk to people and people would just say stuff about the Pacific Northwest. And I was like, oh, wow, I've never really thought about going up there. Never really knew anything about it, but it kept coming. And so eventually, as a part of me answering the omen of my experience, I was like, okay, well, yeah, I would be open to going. And then when the opportunity presented itself, I went. So my thing is, though, is to answer this question, though, a lot of this came as a result of just growth. And what sometimes triggers growth can be a variety of fucking things. Some people's growth happens because of acquired disability, right? Some people might lose something and then instantly, right? They've realized, wait a minute, time is finite. I'm not going to be here in this state forever. Why not be intentional? Sometimes it is a divorce, and in a lot of cases can be, um, because again, there's a separation, there's a death of one way of living, right? And then new life springs forth. And so then you have the opportunity at that point to start seeing, okay, well, what really makes sense for me? Does this make sense, or does that, or does none of this make sense? Who knows? What I'm saying is, to answer this question is, that was just a part of my journey. Now, were these thoughts there? Yes. I will say this though. I will say this, and this is what I would caution people to do. I would caution them against. I would caution people against demonizing the thoughts that you actually have. I
Mm-hmm.
will caution people against that, because it is too easy to associate you with the thought that you had. And then when you're demonizing a thought, you're ultimately demonizing you. Very dangerous. That's a slippery slope to walk upon, because most people, when you work with them in a one-on-one setting, we have all of these narratives that run in the background of our mind. We have all these storylines that run. And these storylines run consistently all throughout the day. And sometimes these storylines are telling us about how we're just so inadequate, and how we'll never be enough, and how we'll never have enough, and how we'll never be able to be this, that, or the third, and nobody's ever going to be able to accept you, and we'll have all this shit that's ultimately storylines that were developed as coping mechanisms when we didn't have the ability to actually deal with the issue. The difference is that we are at a state where we can deal with it now. I can challenge this shit now. So when I started to challenge me and I started to challenge these ideals, are these mine or are these theirs? So for me, I started to jettison shit. I jettison shit that it does not vibrate with me. And who knows, it may vibrate with me later in life. I'm okay with that. But what I'm not okay with is living inauthentically. That's what I'm not okay with. So whatever my today is what my today is. And I am okay with what that looks like. What my tomorrow will be is what the fuck it will be. And when we get there, we will see what we see.
Right.
But in the interim, I'm 10 toes planted right where I'm at. I'm getting the nutrients I need to get, and I'm blossoming and I'm growing here.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm doing this intentionally, not as a byproduct of some other shit. No, this is all an intentional process. So hopefully, that helps to answer that question a little bit. But yes, following tradition, acquiescence into what these people or what people said should be, that be blah, 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 blah. Yes. Yes, that was a lot of it. And I think the scary part is when you start letting that shit go and you start to accept the things that really do vibrate with you, and then start to be open to other things that you once might have been reticent to accept because other people said, "Oh, that ain't cool. Oh, you can't do that. Or you can't have this. Or you can't go there." It's a variety of shit.
Right.
I hope that helps.
Okay. Well, I guess for me, at the end of the day, I always say the same thing. Yeah, I just wanted to just kind of touch base on the word and what it meant. So I did get some understanding. Polygamy versus polymer. What is it? Polymerous. Anyway, it's a difference. Okay. And what is married and what's just married. So I mean, again, I think there's a lot to it. We talked about that. And there is no right or wrong. Nobody's getting hurt if everybody knows what's going on. And this is not just for this topic, this is with anything. If there's transparency and communication and understanding, and everyone's on board with whatever's going on, then and everyone's grown. I mean, what can we say? I mean, I just think, like you said before, it's important for us to understand and ask questions,
Yeah.
so that we can make an educated um opinion about it, or judgment for your own personal self, for yourself. You don't know what you don't know. 5 years from now, I might be in a poly relationship. If I am, you guys would be the first to know. I can't even give it. Jason, could you see me in a poly relationship?
Yes, I could.
You cut that out. You only saying like you trying to be difficult.
No, I'm
Me?
not.
I'm surprised you can see
Yes.
me in a relationship, let alone poly.
Well, let me say this.
What does no?
Okay. All right. Then no.
What do you mean? That means I
Does it matter if you're going to ask me and not allow me to
no.
speak my
I'm
truth?
just maybe I don't understand what it means because you know me well. So tell me
I
why you
do.
say that.
I do know you well.
Tell me why
And
you.
I also know that a lot of your talking points are based on where you're currently at, not necessarily reflective of fully who you actually are. That's what I believe. This is my own personal belief, just
Mhm.
knowing you and
Yeah.
seeing you,
Right.
right?
Right.
I think a lot of times you surface walk. You stay on the surface because it's easy to stay on the surface,
Mm-hmm.
but you're actually built to go with depth, right? You move through depth. And how do I know you move with depth and through depth is because when shit hits the fan, how you can shift gears and you shift that motherfucker quickly. And
Mm-hmm.
you operate in depths with a sense of simplicity that tells me you didn't get there just because you just happened upon that. No, that's because that's where you belong at.
Mm-hmm.
I told somebody one time, I said, you may see me on the surface, but I'm not a surface dweller.
Mm-hmm.
I dwell in the depths. I may come up for air periodically, but majority of my time will not be spent on the surface. And what I was talking about is because I'm not a surface conversationalist. You're not talking to me about the fucking weather and I'm going to be fully engaged in this conversation every day of the week. No.
Mm,
But you can talk to me about some real shit. Oh, and we can operate. We can get it. We can get into the mud with it. I'm
mm,
cool with that. So I say all that to say, just to get back to the point.
mm,
Is it possible? Yes. I would say for you, yes, because, and then I would say because you're still evolving into who you're actually going to be. You're still accepting who you are
mm-hmm.
and accepting and this is a church term, right? This is comes from the fivefold ministry term, is your mantle, right? So your mantle is like your responsibility, the shit that you carry. Like when I'm in this motherfucker, like this is who I am, and this is how you experience me when I'm present, right? I'm a
Mm-hmm.
seer, I'm a this, I'm a that. So I still think you are. So I think it's possible, yes, because I think that as it relates to you opening up your definitions and then knowing that you like to do X, Y, and Z, but you still can take care of this and that at the same time, I think it's possible. I don't think it's a far fetched idea. I just really don't. Now, that's not a disrespect. I'm not saying that you don't love your fucking husband. I'm
Right,
not saying none of that shit.
right.
I'm not saying I ain't,
Because
please don't
the
hear
reason
what I'm not saying.
I know now that with this poly shit, it's not that you don't love one.
No.
I mean, that's not
And
what it.
it's not saying that
But
you love this person more than that one or that one more than that one.
I think
That has nothing to do with it.
the part that gets me is poly more than one. And now
Can I ask you something?
I don't
Can
want
I
more
ask you?
than
No,
one
can I
mate.
ask you something? No, that's fine. You don't have to have more than one
I
mate.
know, but that's what it means. That's the only part that's killing me here. I mean,
No,
yeah,
no. Okay.
friends,
You, you,
friends. I
you
mean,
stuck on, you stuck
friends,
on, you down at the end of the tape. You way too far down the road,
because
right?
I'm looking at the word poly. It means more than one.
More than one.
The basic premise of the definition is poly, and it's like,
And it's to love more than one. Polyamory. It's many, right?
man,
It's the love piece.
yeah,
Polygamy is the marriage piece. Okay, so now let me just say this.
okay,
Historically, women have been met with far more opposition, right? And far more stigma as it relates to the way that they express themselves.
hi Lynn.
I.e., she's a hoe, she's a thought, blah, 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 blah. But how many words do we have for the male equivalent? We don't have many at all. Matter of fact, prior to this generation, there was no male equivalent word. So you're telling me that we've been calling females and women hoes, Jezebels, Sally Sue's. We've had all these words for women all this time, but we ain't had shit for men. That tells me that it's been a male centered whole approach, which means men are dictating and determining that. So I say all that to say this. I honestly believe that what we're seeing with the sexual revolution is we're seeing people start to learn, like, I'm just accepting me for who I am.
Mm-hmm.
Are there women that are open to this? Yes. Are there women that have always been open to it? Fuck yeah. Which is why the old school statement is this: trip on this statement and understand the context of it. Mama's baby, daddy's maybe. Where in the fuck did that come from?
Mm-hmm.
Where the fuck did that statement come from if there wasn't some truth to the fact that it's not uncommon for a woman to be with somebody, but to
Oh,
also be with another motherfucker?
oh, right, right. I see what you mean. Yeah, yeah.
You
Mm-hmm.
get what I'm saying?
Uh huh.
That shit has been around for a long time. That's not a new statement.
Yeah.
Has been around, which says that this shit has been possible. This also says this has been a lived experience for a lot of people. There are so many people that have children that aren't sired by the nigga that was in the household. That's not to say that women are low down. Don't don't hear what I'm not saying. That's fucking that European shit that they put in there and them dictating and determining all this shit. It's because you limited people's experiences to only what you accept. They used to burn women at the stake for having an extramarital affair. What about these motherfucking weirdos? What about these dudes? They didn't do shit to them. They didn't do the shit to them in the church. They didn't do shit to them in politics. We got these weirdo motherfuckers right now in the White House. Nobody said shit about this, right? These niggas is pedophiles. But we gonna sweep this shit under the rug and keep it pushing because I'm because milk is at $3 a gallon. So what that tells me is that we are what's the word for it? We're selective about our outrage. We're
Mm.
selective about this shit. So then it also tells me that a lot of our thought processes and talking points are based on shit that was passed down to us. It's not based on shit that's just genuinely you. It's
Right.
based on all these talking points that you've heard. And it's based on how women, quote unquote, should behave. Based on whose definition,
Right. I mean, I
right?
get
So
you.
so
You
all I'm saying is you stuck on you playing the tape and saying, well, I think it's possible that some of that shit could be based on what other people's expectation was. And that shit, not so much what actually works for you.
yeah, I hear
I
you.
don't know. But
Anything
again,
possible under the sun. Anything possible under the sun. But don't hold your breath. Listen, I don't like you. I don't like people enough. Eh. Okay, I love you. Okay, we gotta go.
um, yeah, so
Sorry.
I think
He
that's a
can't hear
great
me.
he can't hear you.
He
Um,
can't or he can.
he cannot. He can read though. So let's
Tell him I said hi.
you said hi. Now beat it.
Don't do my baby like that.
Nah, cause he be sitting there reading, boy. This
He
boy
wanted to
is
see me. Did he see me?
he can see you. This is Cuzzo. You know who that was?
He,
Yeah, yeah. He knows. He knows that's
all
Cuzzo.
right. All right.
But um, but no. To answer that question, do you have to? Honestly, no. I don't know. There's no have to nothing,
Yeah.
right? You don't. There's no. It can be uniquely what it is. There are relationships that people have. Let's say when people there's 80-year-olds 80-year-old women who might be dealing with a 40-year-old man,
Come on,
right?
80-40.
That doesn't sex might not be the thing,
Right.
right? It might not. It might be companionship because what's at the basis of all human interaction is relational value.
Well, now that you
That's a
mentioned,
baseline. It's relational value. So can that part can the that part be a byproduct of relational value? Yes, it can. It can be. Does it have to be?
I mean,
No.
listen. I mean, maybe I can. Hey. if
Right?
if we're just talking about a little time here and there, you want to just go bowling, you know,
There, there we go. Right?
my bowling party. But that don't make me poly. Doesn't it have to be some kind
No.
of
No.
romantic feeling?
Here's the
There's
thing though.
no romantic.
What I'm saying is that
That's a
sometimes
good question.
we've put ourselves in these spaces to where we don't even permit the possibility because of impropriety, because of it don't look right. But it wouldn't be the same case if we were single, right? But
Yeah.
because we're not single, then what doesn't look good is shunned. Well, where does that come from? If you were to really do a deep dive, well, that comes from back even church time. Because what did they do within the church was if it looks like evil or it looks, I had a guy says, as a pastor, he said, and there's a passage of text. but it talks about causing other people to stumble.
Uh huh.
And Kev on stage is a comedian. He's a Christian comedian, but man, he's all within a lot of these. Like he's moving, like he's got a lot of traction, and he's with people that use profanity or use uh cultural colloquialisms, right? But someone came on and said, "Man, you're just trying to get the world's approval instead of focusing on the kingdom." And his response was pretty good. And he said, "Listen, you're welcome to not follow this journey if you feel like I'm causing you to stumble.
Uh huh.
But that's a you thing. It has nothing to do with anyone or anybody else." And I think that's the part that we have to really start grappling with, is that a lot of the shit that we're come up with is really just it's you shit. It's not really has nothing to do with nobody else. It has everything to do with what you've allowed to be a thing for you.
Right.
And so how you defined your scenario, how you define your world context, that's what you get.
Mm-hmm.
So some people will be like, "Oh, I can't. Ain't no way I could do that." Okay, well then do it the way you've been doing it and get the results you've been getting. And that's okay. If you're okay with that, great. But there are also people that have done everything you said that you would never do, and they're also successful in what the fuck they do. That's a fact. There are people who never argue, married for whatever time. There are people who argue all the fucking time, married for whatever time. There are people who are this, that, and the third. It's just so varied, and there's no one way or whatever the case might be. There are some things that work, some things that don't. But I think when we open ourselves up to defining things that make sense for you, right? And again, all this is about is you taking back authority over your lived experience, not allowing other people to shape it for you. That's important. I believe that's very important.
It
So
is.
there's that.
It is.
And can it? Yes, depends on what we're talking about, but can it? Or maybe it don't. For some people, marijuana was a gateway drug. Is it really a gateway drug though for everybody? For
Nothing.
some people,
Can it?
cigarettes. Matter of fact,
No,
for
absolutely.
yeah, for some people, BDs. Y'all remember BDs? I remember BDs used to be them little
Man, I
roll
used to
joints.
smoke the shit
Yeah,
out of
right.
it. Do they still sell
Eh,
them?
I don't even know. I haven't seen them in ages,
I
but
used
I
to buy the
remember
fuck
them.
out them beaties,
I
boy.
remember them as a teenager because I used to be on them. Well, here's the thing though. Did that did that cause me to smoke cigarettes and smoke cigars? I don't know, but I would say no, right? Because I was
I
already
never smoked cigarettes, but I smoked beaties.
see, there you go, right? Well, I did. So
Long
to say that it has to be one way or another, it could always be different.
yeah.
It could be, it could not be, but it's always going to be determined by who you are. I know that I have an addictive personality, so there are some things I just won't play with. That doesn't mean that that other people can't play with that. I
Mm-hmm.
just can't play with it because I don't trust what I would do with that emotion. That's me. That's me knowing who I am. That's not me saying that, hey, some people who snort lines, you're going to always be this. No, because there are some people that did it and then say, oh, I didn't like it. And they moved on with their life.
Mm-hmm.
Some people snorted it until they day they died. Who the fuck knows? I don't know. All I know is I'm not fucking with it because I'm not emotionally ready to deal with that shit. I know I'm addictive. I can get addicted to people. I have to wean myself off of fucking people. The last thing I need is to wean myself off of a fucking drug. And how bad me and cigarettes or nicotine was, that motherfucking monkey was on my back so hard.
That nicotine.
Yeah, I've been sober for what month is this?
Oh, so nicotine. Yeah, you don't smoke no more. You stop well completely. Even the vapor and everything. It's how long?
December.
Oh, this
This
is
is
June.
yeah. So
Okay.
I'm going on 8 months.
8 months. Oh, we can
Yep.
celebrate during my birthday month.
And my
I'll share my birthday month with you.
nah, that's saying a lot.
Yeah, I was share
That's
for
saying a lot.
hey.
Yeah, that's saying a lot
Just
because you
one
don't
month.
share shit.
We'll just recognize it for a month. And in the spirit of Polly, we'll
There
share
we go.
many.
Did I tell you you growing? Her, her is
Not
growing.
quite. Not quite the color.
I told you. I told
Right.
you it's coming.
This nigga. Listen to this.
Shit.
I'm smoking, no plans to quit. Right. Look at
And that is a real thing. But look, I'm telling you, that motherfucking me and this nicotine, y'all. Let me tell y'all, I used to vape on planes. When niggas said you can't vape in the planes, I was like, shit, nah, not me. I vape. I went to court. I was vaping in court. I'm vaping in the courtroom. I'm vaping. Fucking it didn't matter. I was at the VA. I'm in the hospital. I'm vaping in the hospital. Nigga, I'm in the ER one time. The one time I was in the ER, I'm in the fucking ER. And as soon as that doctor turned around, I'm like,
like trying to hurry up. They're like, ooh.
listen, I was on, and the worst thing that ever could have been made were them fucking disposable vapes because them motherfuckers were way way too discreet. Because I could hold them right here, put my hand up, I'm hitting it, and I'm just enjoying myself. People like, oh man, you can't, nigga, I'm grown. Listen,
Right.
who gonna stop me at this point in life?
Never
So
fucking.
again, I was everywhere, and it didn't matter church. It
Good.
didn't
Good.
matter
Good.
where I was at, when I was there. If I wanted to vape, I was gonna vape, and there I had no free time to the point where the only time I didn't have a vape in my hand was when I was sleeping.
Mm.
That's the only time. And sometimes I'd wake the fuck up in the middle of the night, hit my vape.
Grab it. Yeah.
I
I
would
used to do that
leave the
too.
man, I leave the house. And if I don't have my vape on me, I turn the fuck around and go get that bitch. And almost have a panic attack. Or I know my first stop gotta be I gotta stop at the store and grab one. The point of what I'm saying is I know I'm addictive. I know I have an addictive fucking personality.
Yeah.
So I can get hooked on some shit that will just control the fuck out of me.
Yeah. That's
So
fact.
again,
Too. Me too.
I am aware of me. So there are some things I just won't fuck with, and there are other things I can.
In court,
Friend of
right?
mine told me about mushrooms, and I'm like, I'm going to pass on the mushroom conversation because I don't trust me having a bad trip. And then what if I like that shit too much? So again, all
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
saying,
That's not worth it.
people, but again, it can be, but you gotta just know you and where you're at. And so if that's not a place of comfort for you, that's fucking okay. It's okay. But know that that's why it's okay. It's not okay. It's because it's just not comfortable for you. And then that's pretty much it. Oh yes, Liz, I was in court. Cuz, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, Liz, I was in court. I was
Doing the most. About to go.
doing it.
About to get put under the jail because he want to vape.
Man, that monkey was riding me,
That
man.
shit is real though. It's an addiction.
Yeah, that motherfucker was on my ass, man. I just my body said I need it. I was afraid to not have that nicotine hit.
And it's been 7 months.
Fucking 7 months.
What's the
And
longest you stopped before? What was the longest you stopped?
it was years before. And then I went. Yeah, it was years,
And then you started back.
like well over probably even close to a decade, if not over a decade. And then I started back. Yeah,
Damn.
because I smoked when I was a teenager into my early 20s, and then I stopped, and then I started again in my late 30s, late 30s, mid to late 30s. So
Mm.
yeah, it was about a decade, man. It was a good little 13, 14 years. And then it was stress, and then but it was also growth, and then saying, well, I stopped previously because of fear and wanting to be righteous. And then I started back because I felt liberated. And then it was like, and now I stopped because it's like, this shit's controlling me. And I just don't like to be controlled.
How
I
many
don't want to be
months?
controlled.
We out of here, y'all.
Hmm?
I gotta go. I'm getting sleepy. I'm about to go fall asleep on this damn computer. But how many months? October,
For you.
November, December, October to October 25 is 1 year. And then November, December, January, February, March, April, May, June, July. A year and 9 months.
Wow.
Damn, a year and 9 months, huh? I'll
Wow.
drink to that. I'm going on my
I would
50th
no the fuck you not. But look.
I'm going on I'm going on my cruise. No, I'm not. I'm not gonna drink. I'm just joking. Yep. But anyway, okay. I love you guys. I'm just,
Man, I love you guys, man. And appreciate y'all for tuning in tonight, man.
thank you for coming, Liz. I miss you, boo. I hope you're doing good.
Yes. Hope you're
I
doing
thought
well.
about Marianne too. I saw her come. I mean, I didn't see her, but I saw her name. I guess I don't know why I
She
aggravated.
popped
But
in?
is she okay? No, not today. I just saw her. I
Oh,
think on my YouTube, like
okay.
her name come across. I hope Marianne's okay. Love you. Okay, love you guys. We gotta go. Bye.
Okay.
See y'all
All
later.
right, man. Blessings, man.
Peace out.